Alrighty, 28th of December, welcome back grade 12s to your lesson 8. This is your final lesson on the topic of patterns, number patterns, sequences and series. And I want to encourage you guys to pay full attention, as this is just quick, straightforward. This is really straightforward, and this is a useful tool that you could use when facing ugly questions. And by ugly questions, I just mean questions whereby they are asking a lot from you, and this, I guess, minimizes the work that you have to do. Okay, so boys and girls, in this lesson we'll be determining the terms from our sum of formula. So boys and girls, in order for us to determine a term, we'll use the formula Tn is equal to Sn minus Sn minus 1. And in this sense, boys and girls, what do I mean by Tn? So in order for us to get, for example, you would be given the sum of formula for a certain question. They can ask you to provide us with the 7th term, not the sum of the first 7 terms, but rather the 7th term. And what would you do then? What you would do is you'd utilize this formula, which is straightforward. And this formula is stated here, as again, I'll repeat, Tn is equal to Sn minus Sn minus 1. And this is a very useful formula for you to know because it's not provided to you in your formula sheet. So it's very useful for you to know. So T6, for example, let's say we're looking for the 6th term. We'd say T6 is equal to the sum of the first 6 terms minus the sum of the first 5 terms. Or T9, the 9th term, is equal to the sum of the first 9 terms minus the sum of the first 8 terms. Straightforward. But I want us to just ensure that we understand what I'm talking about by looking at examples and worked examples, boys and girls. Okay, let's start off. And question 1.1, boys and girls, essentially tells us that the sum of the first arithmetic sequences, or series, is given by Sn is equal to n squared minus 2n. And it says, calculate the sum of the first 13 terms. We're given the sum formula. So they want us to calculate the sum of the first 13 terms, where n is equal to 13. So we'd say 1.1. The formula given is n squared. Sn is equal to n squared minus, excuse me, boys and girls, just quickly want to ensure my handwriting is proper here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Sn is equal to n squared minus 2n, right? Perfect. That being said, let's look for the first. They say we should calculate the sum of the first 13 terms. So S13 is equal to 13 squared minus 2 times 13. And S13 is thus therefore equal to, if I plug it into my calculator, it gives me 143. Just double check there for me, boys and girls. And this would be a good 1 mark or 2 marks, depending on how the examiner is feeling. Okay, then let's move on to question 1.2. Question 1.2, boys and girls, says, calculate the 13th term. We are not looking for the sum of the first 13 terms, but we're looking for the 13th term. And we're going to use the formula T13 is equal to S13 minus S12. T13 is equal to, T13 is equal to, we said that S13 is 143 minus this whole shebang. So we're going to use this formula to get S12. We're going to put in 12 squared minus 2 times 12. Okay, and then we can actually deal accordingly. So 143 minus, so it's 12 squared minus 2 times 12 is 120. So 143 minus 120, that tells us that T13 is equal to T13 is equal to 23. Let's just double check and plug everything back into our calculator. 1 second. 23. Exactly, boys and girls. So mark for substitution. A good, quick, and easy 2 marks. Okay. And a very important fact that ties in later on when dealing with complex procedures. Let's quickly do question 1.2. Question 1.2, boys and girls, as it states, it says here, excuse me. Here's question 1.2. Question 1.2, boys and girls. Let me just quickly fix this. This is 1.1.1, 1.1a, and this is B. Question 1.2. It says, given Sn is equal to this whole shebang here, calculate S4. So they're looking for the sum of the 4. So S4 is where when we see an N, and just put in 4. Okay. So therefore, S4 is equal to 5, 1 minus 3. They say they're looking for the fourth, sum of the first 4 terms, divided by -2. Okay. So let's quickly just simplify. S4 is equal to, let's just quickly simplify the top. 3 to the power of 4. The top gives me -400, and the bottom gives me -2. That gives me 400 divided by 2, which is 200. So S4 is equal to 200. And you can easily correct me if I happen to have made a mistake, boys and girls. I'm easily open for correction. Okay. So we then move on, boys and girls, to the next question. And then the next question essentially asks us again to calculate a term. And how do we calculate a term? How do we calculate a term, boys and girls? We calculate a term using our formula. This is 1.2a, 1.2a, and this will be 1.2b. I apologize if I'm being a bit slow. 1.2b. They say calculate T5. Now, T5, as we know, is equal to this S5 minus S4. Therefore, T5 is equal to S5, and S5 is essentially 5, 1 minus 3 to the power of 5 all over -2 minus 200. Okay, and T5 will thus then therefore give us, 1 second, boys and girls, just plugging this into your calculator. If we plug this into your calculator, if we simplify the top, we get 5 multiplied by 1 minus 3 to the power of 5. That gives us negative 1,210 all over -2, I mean, minus 200. These negatives cancel each other out. T5 is equal to 1,210 divided by 2, which gives you 605 minus 200. Therefore, finally, T5 is equal to 605 minus 200, which is 405. There we go, boys and girls. And that's quickly an easy 2 marks. I'm just showing you guys how we'd work it out without using a calculator, boys and girls, how I simplify, and I'll get to that point. But yeah, that's essentially it, boys and girls. Welcome, and I guess well done on finishing up your topic on number patterns and sequences. From there on, what we'll do is we will tackle past paper questions and questions whereby they'll give you different terms. And as you guys have seen, we've touched on them quite a bit in the other videos, whereby certain aspects will be telling you that T5 is equal to this, and Sn is this, and Tn is that. Now, I want you to take all these important bits of information. I want you to write them down on a paper and just get a brief summary of important things that you have to know for this topic. Boys and girls, I am proud of you guys for coming for getting this far, and I thank you very much for interacting with my videos. Be it two of you guys, truly does mean the world to me that I'm actually helping and making a difference. Okay, so don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Do all those good things, and boys and girls, God bless.